Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of YOMO. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are on Reflection 214. Can you believe it? Well, today is a different book. It's a book called The Founding Fish by John McPhee. So I'm excited to see what Chris has in mind for this one.
Do you remember John McPhee, the levels of the game?
I don't recall. I heard of John McPhee, but I don't know if we do the other Ash one.
I feel like we did that one, but let me check. It is. What? Yeah, I thought we did this. No? Yeah, we did this one. Yeah, we did this we did 303, the Ryan Holiday reading list. John McPhee was the author that he recommended. He was like, man, this guy could read Wikipedia and it would be great. That was when I did the Levels of the Game book about Clark Graebner and Arthur Ashe and their U.S. Open semifinal. Remember that one?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, tennis brings out your character like it's a fight of character. So this is another John McPhee book. I was like, well, I like that first one. I was like, I'll give him a shot and keep going. He has a ton of books. And I picked just another random one. It was called The Founding Fish. It is a book about this fish called the American Shad. Have you ever heard of the American Shad before?
Mm-mm.
It is like the cousin of a salmon that's American East. It lives in the East Coast of America. It looks like this, so it's like a salmon. They call it the athlete fish or something like that. They're super strong, fast swimmers. They live in salt water just like salmon, and then they swim upstream to spawn. The shad runs in the creeks and streams on the eastern coast of the United States. The shad, when they do their spawning run, it's just like the salmon runs out west. This is the American shad, so it's a similar fish. I'd never heard of it before. John McPhee is an avid shad fisherman, apparently. This is his passion, shad fishing. He also loves tennis. He wrote a book on the founding fish called the American Shad. It's called the founding fish, by the way, because, like as he said, the shad has a cameo role in the lives of George Washington and Henry David Thoreau, and it's been like a famous fish in Washington area on the East Coast, where Revolutionary War soldiers and stuff, they would be saved by the shad fish run. It would come through and they would have food as they were hunkered down fighting the British or whatever. So it's why the book's called The Founding Fish. Does that make sense? What the book's about?
Sense.
So
right.
It's a book about.
It ties to our founding fathers, okay?
The book was okay. I learned more about the American shad than I could ever imagine. What I did love was John McPhee's passion for shad fishing. He really detailed the art of fishing, because you could tell that he loves it. This is like a total side note from the reflection. I just finished a book this week called A Team of Rivals. It's about Abraham Lincoln's cabinet members. It's like this really long ass book. It's like 41 hours, 933 pages of an audible book. It was a monster of a book, right? And the first reflection that I wrote off of it today that I just finished, because I just finished it yesterday. It took me like 2.5 weeks to finish it, which for me, that's like, I would have normally finished like 6 books in the meantime, normally, right? My reflection that was right about it is like, the book was so boring. It was just like reading a Wikipedia page for 41 hours. And it's like, there's no heart in it, right? Because it wasn't an autobiography. It wasn't about somebody's life or somebody's passion, right? It was just literally a biography of 4 different people's lives for the most part, that, and recapping history. Like it was like reading the history. Like I was like, this was my thought that I had today. People like John McPhee are so well known and successful because from everything that I've read of his so far, he writes about stuff that he cares about. Right, like his soul's in the game of shad fishing. Right, he may be doing a really dry topic, but at least I was entertained, and I could tell the love that he was putting into this because he loved shad fishing. Same thing with like memoirs and autobiographies. Right, these are self-written books about people's life. Like the soul's in the game. You can feel that when it comes across, and that was what I was writing about this reflection. I was like, I just spent 41 hours on this fucking book, and I feel like I just read a Wikipedia page entry, and I'm like, I don't really remember. I didn't learn shit. Like, really, to be honest with you, I felt like that was just a fucking waste of time. That was my lesson that I wrote down on this one. So I was like, if your soul's not in the game of what you're writing, or it's not a personal account of what you learned, I don't know that it's worth it for me anymore to just read books like that. Unless you have Bill Bryson of the world, right? Where Bill Bryson can literally open up Wikipedia and somehow write a story where it's like entertaining at the end of it, because he's entertaining the way that he writes. Like his soul's in the game of writing, but like I still don't remember anything from a Bill Bryson book. Every Bill Bryson book that I've ever read, like you could quiz me on anything that he talked about, I'd be like, I don't know that I remember anything. It's like mesmerizing how he tells the story, right? But like the content, I don't remember it. I'm entertained by it, but I don't remember any of it, right? That's the problem, is I remember stories about people with soul in the game. And this is like a story I do remember about, because John McPhee has a soul in the game. So this is what I learned. we'll do anything for our kids. This is a reflection. This kind of dovetails with what we were talking about before. They call the American shad the athlete fish. When they come in from the sea and they do their run to go spawn, they come in a fasted state on a mission. This dovetails with our complete guide to fasting, where we learn about, when you're hungry, your body's chemically changed, where you're focused and locked in and your senses are heightened and your body's primed for performance. Well, these athlete fish, they come in hungry as shit, and they are like, I'm going as fast and as far as I can upstream until I can't go anymore, until I'm out of gas completely. All my reserves are gone, and I don't eat, they don't stop, they just go. Like that is why they're athlete fish. So they're just fast as shit until they literally deplete all their resources, and then they're like, okay, now I can spawn, right? I don't know if you know this, but like salmon, they go to where they were born, and that's where they spawn. They don't know where the hell they're going. They're just going as far and as fast as they can until they can't anymore. And then they're like, okay, now I'm done. I will mate and I will spawn here. And that's where these kids are going to live, right? And it made me think, like, why do they do it, right? Like, for the shad, it's like, I get it. For us, it's to get our next meal, right? But they're not trying to eat. As a matter of fact, they die. I think most of these fish die after they spawn and they leave their kids, right? It's like, why do they do it, right? So it's like, why do they do it, right? They're doing everything. And I just kept thinking, like, what is the point of doing all this stuff, right? Why do they forsake eating? Why do they lock in and swim as fast as they can and go as far as they can and deplete all their reserves? Why do they risk everything? They're literally give up their lives to swim that far upstream. And the only thing I could think of was, after the knowledge of this journey and everything I've been through with my daughter and what we were just talking about with if somebody were to attack your children, right? It's like, we will literally do anything for our kids. I mean,
I will burn the world. I will burn the fucking world.
That's
for my kids.
That's what I'm thinking about with the whole shad thing. It's like, man, they come in, they don't eat, they don't sleep, they go as fast as they can, and they go as far as they can to give every ounce of opportunity for those kids, for their kids to survive, right?
Even if to go like 0% higher in chance of survival, they'll do it. You look at all of the fish, the animals, and all the things that we do today. It's not logical. It's all driven by our genes, by who we are as that creature. We don't say, "How I'm going to stop." Let's think about, how do I get this, also get that. We just act based on our instincts. We don't go, "Oh, okay, I'm going to think about this logically, do blah, blah, blah." You don't do that. People don't. I mean, that's why I say we don't live in a logical world. We live in a emotional world. We are driven by our emotion. Emotion is driven by our genes. And so you look at the fish and you're trying to find a reason for it. It's gonna be hard to find it. The only thing you can draw from it is from your own perspective is what would you do if you were to give your kids a chance at something better? Right?
A shot of life. I mean, that's really
a shot of life. I mean, you think about it, like, in your case, hey, if you were to trade your place with your daughter, you would do without even questioning it.
I mean, without a doubt.
Exactly, right? And so to you, that's not emotional. It's not like something you say, okay, let me think about let me marinate this in my head and think about it. No, you don't even stop for a single second to contemplate that decisions.
If it was possible, I would do it.
If there's a wine that say, hey, you can take some of the pain from her, you would do it. I mean, and any parent would. And the thing is, that's not logical, because it's not logical because you never ever even give the system to the writer even a chance to make the decision. You have taken that decision away from him.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, man. I wrote in the bottom of this reflection, I was like, look, you're hitting the nail on the head of what I was writing about. It's irrational. Like even shit like this, like what we are doing every single day on Reflection 314 and talking about this whole entire thing. I've run thousands of miles, since my daughter's passed away. I've written, I'm on page, what fucking page am I on with this thing? Page 520, and I wrote a book that was 400 pages long. I mean, I've written almost 1,000 pages of whatever the hell I'm doing, right? Like, we've read, at this point in time, I've read probably blown past 365 books. You and I meet every single night and record this stuff for 2+ years now of doing this stuff, right? I mean, none of that makes any sense, right? I don't know that any of it was ever driven by any logic, right? I don't think any of it was. As a matter of fact, I can guarantee you none of it was. I mean, that's kind of our central thesis of this whole entire thing, is we're not driven by logic. Like, do what you love and do what you feel.
The thing is, it's not,
Shads are shadding on purpose. They're shadding all over the place, and they're just going.
The thing is, there are certain things that you do that doesn't make logical sense, but it makes you feel good,
Right.
And that is what drives you, and you drive the world. And you can't really expect to think logically and you say, hey, let's ignore my emotions. The only thing you're doing is you just creating misery for yourself. And at the end of the day, you say, hey, fuck that. Why would I spend another day trying to build a rocket ship like Elon Musk does? I said, well, what is it that you want to do? Oh, I want to spend time with my daughter, whatever it is that you want,
Right.
whatever irrational things that attach you, then you can resist that temptation. If you love to eat cake, right, and you resist it, all you do is you're creating that suffering. I don't know what you're going to call it, but to me, it's suffering.
I mean,
It's marshmallow, it's suffering, whatever. And the thing is, somebody don't like the cake. Well, that's them. It's poison. They love the frog. They eat the frog.
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying is, it's not logical to what people are attached to. It's not logical what people do, because that's what we call as humans, because it's not logical and we can't just predict anything. We cannot predict emotions.
Right.
And emotion for us, it is still simply a primitive response to the genes that express itself.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we were talking about this right before this call. It was October 11th, 2023, right? Like a couple of days ago, Hamas went into Israel, slaughtered thousands of Israelis, took a bunch of people hostage, and now Israel is potentially going to just go in and pummel them, right? And you and I were just talking about this beforehand, where you were like, you're
because I'm all emotional into this, and you say, well, wait a minute, step back. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna smack that Hamas, because if somebody I knew gets slaughtered or get captured, right, I'm not gonna be sitting there and thinking, I'm not gonna let the elephant, I'm not gonna let the rider sit there and say, okay, let me think about it, blah blah blah, right? It's not gonna happen, because we are moved by the emotion, and the emotion will take over. Because whenever it is to the life and death, and in the survival directives, right, the elephant is going to ignore the rider, and the rider cannot get interfered, and you can say, well, I'm going to stop the elephant. And the thing is, you think about it, if an elephant, let's say you have this elephant run, can you go and stop the elephant run, the herd from running? No. He will run over anything.
You can't stop a shad run, man.
Yeah, you can't even stop the shad run. Think about the elephant run. Like all the electric elephant, you think it's gonna stop the herds?
Nope.
No,
they just
will not stop the herd.
They plow through it, man.
It will plow through it. But the thing is, you shock it, but they don't feel it. They don't feel it. It's just gonna run over it. So that's what I'm saying is, when you spook an elephant, or when an elephant is triggered by something, it's unstoppable. So it is, to me. I mean, it makes sense if you look at hindsight. Say, hey, I need to think about this rationally. Is this what the Hamas, the Hamas want me to do, or whatever?
Right.
But if somebody comes to my house and do that to me today, I don't have time to think about it. I'm going to go after. I will do exactly what I would say I would do. That to you may not seem like the best idea, because you let your emotions take control. But I say, at the end of the day, even if I stop and say, hey, that's not the best idea. These people got what they want. To me, I still regret it. I say, hey, the fuck with it. I think we're gonna go over there and whack somebody show its head with. You think about it.
Yeah.
Even if you say, hey, I do a business deal and I got $1 trillion from this guy, I milk every single dollar, every single cent from him, right? Oh, at the end of the day, you won. Does that make you feel good?
No, I mean, the only thing that'll make you feel good is if your family. If I'm extrapolating out with,
that's what I'm saying.
right?
Arguing with you about
this is irrational.
Everything we do is irrational. Everything we do is irrational, because you look at what we're doing, is what the fuck are we do two guys doing at middle of the night? Right?
Yeah.
So you say, well, what are you getting out of this, Chris? What are you getting out of this, True? Why are you talking about this? You can get this from somewhere else. You can get this from therapy. That's what a lot of people say.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? But we are not we have, like I said, the system one, system two. System two is the rational, the thinker, the writer. But the superstar of our own life is our primitive brain, our system one, the one that runs every single thing, everything else. Your breathing, keeping you alive, keeping poison from killing your body. There are thousands of things that your brain system one is doing. And it's so powerful. It's so more powerful than any AI that has ever existed.
Right.
Okay.
It's irrational, but it's like irrational, irrational.
Design
like
of no design.
It's exactly like the Shad are going. They're like, I'm not gonna eat, not gonna sleep. I'm gonna go as fast and as far as I can, and I don't know where I'm going, but I'm gonna go far. I know instinctively that if I go further enough up this fucking stream, that my kids have a tiniest bit longer, better chance of survival. The further that I can get. Right, like that's the only rationality behind this.
You can think about the things. Say, hey, I'm going this. I'll give my kids a chance of survival. Why? Why are you giving your kids a chance of survival? It's not like you care.
Because I do.
Logically, you don't care.
Yeah, I do.
You kind of, but not in this way. You do care, but it's not in this way. Logically, because once you take that data and you push it up to the cerebral cortex, the writer, to start to do the thinking, right? It doesn't have a really compelling reason to do it. Because the thing is, for you, let's say right now you have Amelia, right? You have Luca. Maybe you have, third kid, fourth kid, fifth kid, the 100th kid. Let's say 101th kid, okay? You think about your 101th kid. Are you going to sacrifice yourself for your 101th kid? Logically, it doesn't make any sense.
No, that would.
Because he's not there. Thing is, there is an attachment to the kid it has, but there is no sense in sacrificing yourself and enduring the hardship for the kid that has yet existed.
Oh, you're saying they don't exist?
Because the Shad has no kid yet. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Well, to be fair, like that's why we try to forge on as best we can and keep ourselves.
But I'm saying, give me a reason why you should die for your 101st kid. The future. Your system your writer, your thinking brain cannot give you a good reason.
No, I don't.
That's why the system one, your system two does not make that decision. It is the system one that does it.
Yeah, true. I can 100%. The day after Amelia passed away, I've talked about this with you. The day of Amelia passing away, I don't know why I got out of bed. Honestly, I have no idea other than I could say it was the thought of Amelia.
But what I'm saying is,
it wasn't. It was something else.
It's not your writer's doing thinking, right?
No. It was instinctual. I gotta fight. I don't know where that. There was no decision that was made. There was no I thought about this and this is weigh the pros and cons. This is the path forward. Looking back retroactively, I think I can say that. But in the moment, I know for a fact that was not the case. I was just trying to fucking not die. You know what I mean? I don't even know how else to describe that. Because there is no other description.
Because that data isn't being processed up in the cerebral cortex in the system too.
It wasn't even that it wasn't processing. There was nothing. I wrote about this. I've talked to you about this many times. It was I had nothing going on in my brain. It was a blank fucking hole, and it was just moved. My body just moved,
You're autopilot. Like I said, you're autopilot. Yeah. Your system one is running everything.
Yeah.
The writer is just sitting there saying, well, the elephant won't listen to me anymore, and it won't even tell me or give me any kind of signal what it wants to do. It just does it. And so when an elephant is spooked, or it was triggered by something, I don't care what the rider is doing to the elephant. And the elephant isn't going to veer from its path. It will not veer from its path.
No,
think about it. What I'm saying is that the electric fence is not going to hold the pack of elephants hurling down some direction. You just can't do it.
Whenever Luca hurts himself and I see it happen, I don't just sit there and go, is he okay? Is he not okay? You immediately just take off and run. It's not even there's no, let's see if he can test himself here. No, that's not. I totally agree with what you're saying. That Homo Deus book, though, rationally speaking, It's a really
in
good point, right?
hindsight, only in hindsight that you can do that.
But as a nation state, shouldn't there be a rational in a hive, right? Like I get it that there's going to be some bees that are
Right,
pissed off
right.
over here that are just
So
doing
let's
what they're
say,
doing, but
I
like,
mean, the
isn't that
nation
the point of the
state,
hive? Is to have a
yes and no,
rational?
yes and no, because I think it's all about this thresholds, right? The hierarchy. Like, let's say we have a hierarchy, we have a certain threshold, okay? There's a certain threshold that I can say, well, this isn't going to trigger me. I'm still going to have some control over the whole body, the whole system.
Right.
Then nation state also that has the same thing. If there are only a few people that is rattled, right, then the rest of them still calm. But if the majority of the group is rattled, the whole group will rattle, just like the
Yeah, for
body
sure.
is. It's a certain threshold. So if I were the family of the victims or the family of the kidnapped and I'm in some power, right, I'm already compromised. I'm already influenced. How many people are still in those positions? They still say, hey, I'm going to stop this minority. If the majority has been rattled, the rest of the people who are still rational cannot hold the pack. Like
I mean,
I
I
was saying
agree.
before, if the whole pack of elephants is triggered, everyone is running over everything. Electric fence, power plant, doesn't matter. It's gonna run over everything. So to answer the question, it depends on how much of the nation state of Israel is rattled. If they are rattled and they are like unison in their rattleness, they go in the same direction, they will not think logically.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but 9/11 for me, I'm in Houston. This happens in the East Coast, in New York, and in DC. I'm rattled too. I would say, well, you want me to go fight? I'll join right now. I don't know
It's
about
a
you, but I'm far away from it. I'm not even like I don't even know anyone. I'm not. I don't know anyone that knows anyone that's in airplanes. And even then, with the images on the TV, I'm ready to go fight for the
yeah,
U.S. of A.
I
I
think
don't know about you, but I'm already rattled. So the thing is,
yeah,
if I'm that rattled, being that detached,
right.
how would you be able to be calm and collective and logically think through as a nation state of Israel and say, well, okay, mom, don't worry about it. It's okay that your son just got killed. It's okay that your daughter just got kidnapped.
Oh,
It's
I
okay,
agree.
mom. I mean, how can you even say that to your mom? How can you say that to your friend if you're in a position of power and you have the power, even the physical power to contribute? You can't just sit there and say, here, mom, let's think about this. A mom, a wife, a husband has, brothers, sisters, or cousins, or whatever that either been killed or kidnapped and have no idea what's going on, and you are devastating, and you have people that and the people who knows you are begging you to say, hey, I need to get my son back, my daughter back, whoever that is being involved, right? How can you sit there and say, hey, I'm not emotionally attached. I'm not emotionally influenced by any of these. The people who are in the position of power, the people who can do anything and has the energy to do anything, is the one that's mostly affected because that's what's driven them in the first place. And so you think about it, it's not logical. And I do understand what you're saying, but that only happens in hindsight.
I agree. I think you said something that was really interesting about television amplifying a lot of this stuff because I agree with you. I was 17 years old when 9/11 happened, and I remember watching it my senior year in high school. Like everything stopped. That was when we used to have Channel One, the local high school broadcast company. During lunch, we would watch Channel One or during our free period. I don't know if you remember the station, but it was like some television show called Channel One. So that was all that we got from a broadcast in the TVs in our building. And I remember two things happened that day. One of my best friends, we were seniors in high school, and he wanted me, I was driving him to school every day, right? So we lived in the same neighborhood. We've been best friends since we were like 5 years old. His car was like screwed up or something. I can't remember exactly why I was driving him to school, but he was like, hey, give me a ride to school. I'm like, fine, whatever. It's like, as long as you don't make me late, that's fine. We went to a private Catholic high school. We had very strict rules about attendance. Like if you were more than 5 minutes late, you got a ding or whatever. You only got like 3 dings or something you could get for the year before you had to serve detentions and some bullshit like that. If you were more than 10 minutes late, they were calling your parents. They were that strict. Like you could not be late to school at all. Like they had like strict guidelines about this shit, right? So I had already had 1 ding for the year. And, these dings you get of being late to school is like, like when you're going to get it, you might as well just get it,
You could be an F student versus
Yeah,
a C student.
right. Be that fucking F. Don't roll into school at 10:10. School started at 7:30. If you weren't there, don't roll into school at 7:41 and be like, and take the punishment and be like, if you're gonna be at 7:41, you might as well be.
I was at my class at lunchtime.
Right,
After lunch, I'll be in.
So I get to my friend's house in plenty of time. I'm sitting out in his driveway, and this is before we have cell phones and everything. I had a cell phone, but you couldn't text all day long. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And he ran outside. He's like, I'll be there. Like, I got to, he's getting changed still or whatever. Like, I'm just staring at the clock, and I'm like, oh my God. At a certain point in time, I knew that we hit, I think I lived like 12 minutes if I drove fast or whatever. I think I had timed it like to a T. I was like, if I can get there in 12 minutes, if I like run through lights and, blaze my, go as fast as I possibly can. We hit that threshold of like, I'm like looking at the clock and it's like 7 minutes, 6 minutes. And I'm still just sitting in his driveway waiting for his ass to get out. It's September 11th, and I'm like, fuck it. All right, we're going to be late. Fuck it. So he finally gets in the car at like 1 minute to go before we were supposed to be at school. And I was like, do you just want to go to like McDonald's for breakfast or something? And like, at least let's just enjoy this. Right. So he's like, yeah, fine. So we drive to this McDonald's about halfway to the school, and we're sitting there and we're enjoying our Egg McMuffins and our hash browns, and we're sitting next to this guy. This is remember, this is 2001. So it wasn't like you had your internet on your phone all day long. This is like, you only got news from TV, and it was only if you had access to the TV. CNN was basically the only way to see news at that point in time. It wasn't like the same. You should have access to
your cell phone, then it's not internet browser. Right. They do have browser, but it sucked.
It sucked. Right. Exactly.
You text. And it's slow as hell.
You pretty much could only get internet if you were at a desktop, or watching like CNN or Fox News 24-hour cable, right? So we're sitting there, we're eating our McMuffins, we're having a fun conversation, we're enjoying being late to school, and then they had a little TV that would show like the news in that McDonald's, right? And we both looked up and we saw it was on the Today Show, and they were covering like, smoke was starting to billow out of the first one. They were like, we don't know what happened. We think maybe like a helicopter maybe have collided or whatever. Like they were, we're like watching this and we're like, what the hell? Like this is kind of crazy. And this guy that's sitting next to us, he's like, oh man, my brother works in one of the towers. I hope he's okay. I should go call him or something. And we're like, yeah, that's pretty wild. And as we're sitting there, it's the second plane live on TV runs into the tower, right? And we're like, whoa, something's fucked up is going on. So we were like, let's get out of here. Drove to school. We made it to the very end of the first period. So we checked into the front office and we were like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but something's going on in New York. And they were like, what are you talking about? Turn on the news. So we get to class, like 2 minutes left to go at the end of the first period. The bell sounds, and everybody goes and changes halls. By the time we got to our second period class, there was an announcement made of like, like New York is under attack, terrorism, blah, blah, blah. And the rest of the day, we sat glued to the TV in our classroom. We never even left the classroom that we were in the second period, and just watched it with horror that was going on. The reason I'm bringing up this whole story in general is like, I was in Indiana. Like I had nothing to do with any of this stuff. You were in Texas, like you said, TV, press, this stuff amplifies a lot of these things, right? Talk about the hive mind and how that can spread so fast and amplify it. Social media and press and the people that are all the stuff that we have today. I knew what was going on in Israel, immediately, because it's not like I was watching the news or anything. I just got on LinkedIn or something like that. And there's people that are like, stand with Israel and blah, blah, blah. This is horrible. And, I was on a call today with one of my vendors that I work with. I buy from them, right? I'm their customer. And I had a question for our client success manager, who's amazing. Her name's Allison, and she is Jewish. And I didn't know this. Normally she's super responsive and we're having a great working relationship, and she's incredibly helpful. Like the company that's it's Gong is the company. I don't know if you know Gong, but like they're amazing to work with. Like they're an awesome company, right? And I love working with them. Well, the founder of Gong, Amit, is from Israel, and a lot of their team is in Israel. And Allison is apparently Jewish. I didn't know this. And so like I didn't get a response back immediately from her, and I had a I wasn't even thinking about it. I had another question like later on in the day, and I pinged her again on Slack, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. She's like, she was like, I apologize. Everything's really crazy right now, like with what's going on over in Israel. She's like, I'm Jewish, obviously this company has a big Israeli presence, and like, yada, yada. I mean, this is like really affecting a lot of people all over the place. Right. And I'm just meandering and walking through my life, but like, it's impossible to avoid, right, at this point in time. I mean, it is on every social media channel, every whatever. I mean, it is like flooded into you where
Right. I
you
mean,
kind of have to take a stand.
even if it's not on social media, you are still affected because we have an international relations with
Right.
among all these companies. So if Allison can't provide you what you need, she's gonna tell you why and the reason why you're going to relate to them, because that's a human
Right.
feature. We are able to relate to other people, and we have sympathy and empathy for the people that we know, because you may not even know me directly because you don't know me. You only see the picture on the screen.
Sure.
But you do have some sympathy if I tell you some story that it affects me
Of course.
personally. Same thing with Allison. You may not even see her in person, but
Right.
it will affect you, and that creates. This is why we are, as a human species, has been the apex predator, because we have the ability to feel and to
Connect
empathize and
across.
sympathize,
Yeah.
right?
Connect.
And it connects us to
Right.
them. And so that's what I'm saying is when a hive is rattled, it's going to affect the whole hives.
Right.
Right. Regardless, yes, the thing is with social media, the alertness is faster and more pronounced, and it's enhanced it, definitely enhanced it. But even if it does enhance it, it doesn't change the fact that we are still going to act emotionally. It may be slower, but we can still act emotionally, because if I was one of the person who is affected, meaning I know somebody who is involved in the got murdered, eventually it will get to me. That doesn't reduce the pain that I have. It doesn't. I don't know about you, but it doesn't.
No, I agree.
Right? Because the shock isn't about, okay, it happened 2 days ago or it happened like 2 minutes ago. The shock only reduces as you endure the pain, not when the pain gets to you.
Yep.
So eventually, even without immediate information, when the information comes to me via slow mail or messenger, when it gets to me 30 days later, I will still be affected, and I will still feel as much pain I feel like immediately, and I will still be emotionally aroused to go and choke somebody's throat.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
so we as a human species haven't changed. But I do agree with you that social media have make it faster, make it heighten, and make it more easily accessible for people, because right now
to share
collectively
emotions. I mean, to share emotions is what it does.
Emotion together at the same crucial point in time.
Right.
That creates a bigger rattle, a bigger trigger. And so I think nation state like Israel, I don't think, even if you're in power today and you say, let's think rational about this, you're not going to get your way, because the people who are really rattled, they aren't emotional anymore. So they're gonna, if you are standing in the way, they're gonna run over you.
Like this is a central theme of everything, though. I think you're spot on, because I've said this many times before. Like the dude that tries to stand up to be the truth teller in the room, like the Jordan Petersons of the world, like they're never going to win, like ever, because they're not emotional. They don't have any soul in the game, right? Like they don't have. They're just stepping back and going, "Hey, guy," like Yuval Noah Harari, what I was just talking about from Homo Deus, where he's comparing a terrorist to a fly that goes into a china shop, and that fly can't really do anything in the china shop. It can just buzz around, but it doesn't carry enough weight. It really is irrelevant to the china shop, right? But if that fly goes and buzzes in a bull's ear and pisses off the bull's in the china shop, then the bull can go do some fucking damage, right? So the fly has to indirectly use something else to go cause all the ramification of the damage that it needs to do. And like, that's great. You can tell everybody that, and that makes a ton of sense. When there's a fucking fly in your face, though, it doesn't matter. You're like, God damn it, get the fuck out of my face.
You can tell that to the people who are afraid of cockroaches, right? Hey, just a cockroach, they're doing it. Why are they screaming like,
I agree.
like the end of the world, right? So you say, hey, it's just a cockroach. Well, logically, what the hell is going on? I mean, you're like 1,000 times bigger than them. They can't bite you.
Right.
Why are you screaming for your life? So the thing is, we taking a, like I say, in a wicked environment versus a kind environment where we say, hey, there's a pattern to things and whatever, right? You take it and extrapolate the simplicity of something and use that to predict the complexity of the world.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, it's ridiculous. Even if you use a logical brain, right? You say, hey, this one is predictable, this one is simplified, and this one isn't. Even logically, it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
So how can it make sense in an illogical and emotional in a dynamic world? That's what I'm saying is
it can't.
don't try to create misery. Because like I say, even if I say like somebody were to do something to my daughter, I will go and castrate you. I'm not gonna think about it. If I had to go and sit in jail and rot in jail and die for it, to me, it's worth it.
Because you wouldn't have made that decision that it's worth it. You wouldn't even have made a decision. You just would have acted, and then you would have been, oh shit, this is what happens afterwards.
Worth it meaning I won't regret my decision. I said if I had to repeat it, I would still do the same.
Well, you wouldn't even have a decision to.
You won't have a decision. You won't have a decision.
This is the point. It's like you could literally say, "I didn't decide this. You decided this." Like Israel is what you're basically saying is Israel can tell anybody, "Hey, look, we didn't decide to go do this. We just did it because that was what we were supposed to do." Like this is what happens, right? Like I don't have a decision. They don't have a decision to make. Is the point?
Yeah, you take away the decisions.
Right.
You took away my decision. If you go invade my country, I'm gonna come after you. So any United Nations and NATO can say whatever they want.
Right.
It isn't going to stop me from going after whoever it is that's responsible.
Which, I mean, if you want to get super irrational, you're like, what the fuck is a nation state anyway? These people are probably like, so similar. I mean, I don't know anything about like what a difference between a Palestinian and an Israeli is, right? Like, I mean, is it like an Ohioan versus an Indiana, person? Like, how do I tell the difference between an Ohioan versus a Hoosier, right? Like, I mean, there's an invisible line.
I mean, the Confederate versus the
Union. The brothers were fighting. They could have literally been from the same household.
No, they were. Some of those guys were.
Yeah, I know. They were literally brothers, right? Like
they were brothers, and so what's the difference?
There literally is. I mean, you're a kin, like of somebody in that scenario. Like these people may be related in some. I'm sure in some capacity.
They were related. They have the same. They have the same roots.
Right. So I mean, like my point is like from an irrational perspective, like just keep zooming out and zooming out and zooming out. You're like, what are you guys doing? Like this is like who gives a shit? Like like why did you attack them? Why are you attacking? Like that's what people on the outside. That's what we all can sit back and go, the fuck you doing? Like, like this is dumb. Just stop it. But that's not how it works.
That's what I'm saying is when as a nation state, as that we as a United States of America that is in the NATO, right? We don't have any rights to tell Israel, hey, you can't do this. We just don't have that right.
I agree.
Right. I can't process Amelia. Exactly. That's why I say I would never ever go and hey Chris, you gotta think about this logically. Like, who the fuck am I to tell you that? Right? Yeah. I have no right. I don't even have a right to say that I understand how you feel. I don't even have that. How would I have the right to tell you, hey Chris, don't think of that. Don't behave like that. You being a wuss. You think about how insensitive, how asshole I would be to say that. And I'm already an asshole, okay? And I don't even think about it. It's not thinkable.
Yeah.
So when you have, as a nation state, as Israel, don't think about going after the guy. As a nation of third, outside perspective, hey, don't let Israel do this or do that.
Don't let it fly.
We don't have that right.
Right. Yeah,
human rights. Because the thing is, if we tell them that they can't do that, well, they can tell us at 9/11 we can't do other stuff.
Right.
How would that make you feel?
I mean, it's a really tough question because, like you mentioned, 9/11 never affected me personally. But it did indirectly via media, via watching. I was in stunned shock. It changed everything for this country in the long run.
Oh, I mean, I think you say it doesn't affect you, but
it did. The literal impact of 9/11 had nothing to do with
direct impact, right? It's not a direct impact because, like I say, I don't know of anyone who knows of anyone that is affected.
Right.
Like I don't know that person personally that knows somebody personally. Don't know someone personally, right? I only see them on TV. It's detached. Right. I'm already detached, and even then, I'm affected. I'm affected then, and I'm affected from the repercussion of 9/11 today. Of how our culture has changed today as well.
Yeah, massively. I mean, it's massively changed.
Massively, it just throws us off
it was a massive black swan event that changed everything, right? Like, and I'm sure this is a massive black swan event that's taking place right now
for Israel,
and the people in Gaza,
even in the world.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could absolutely.
And we may not be directly affected by it, but we will be affected by the repercussion, by the shock wave that it sends.
I mean, if Iran decides to jump into a fucking fight, because they're the ones that fund Hamas anyway, and Hezbollah and all these other places, and they decide to go jump into it, then I guarantee you we're gonna get pulled into it.
I mean, think about it. There's a reason why we don't send like bombs into the city, right? We fight in the battlefield.
Right.
Because that's what we expected to do. Hey, even though I don't like you, but I'm gonna fight in the battlefield. I'm not gonna go and bomb your city, right? And some people do that, but then there is the repercussion of you bomb my city, I will bomb your city. Right. That's why you don't see. Yes, there is a battlefield somewhere, and you want to take over it. That becomes a battlefield. Yes, that's inevitable. But you don't say, "Well, I don't need that land over there. I'm gonna go and bomb you over there just because," even though you hate each other. Right. So there's always this invisible rules that you follow, right? It's the civil rule, right? It's just one of those things that human nature, we have that innate ability to sense the rule. So we don't go in and bomb somebody's city.
Yeah, that keeps peace. I mean, the civil rule keeps
we go on the battlefield, say, hey, okay, we fight, okay? We go in the battlefield. This is the battlefield. We want to take over the city. This particular land, that's the battlefield. That's where we're going to meet and fight. So something back in the old days where you go and you meet the army in the battlefield, right? Somewhere far away from the village. When you fight until you win, and then you go and you take the village. But you don't go and just take the village first, right? Some people do, but not a common occurrence.
Right. I mean, that's how the whole Civil War was. I mean, like the whole book of the team of rivals. I mean, a lot of it, the majority of it is about the Civil War. I mean, the actual battles that were going on. I mean, dude, that was bloody as shit. Like, I mean, that was a lot of people died in the Civil War. Like probably more people died in the Civil War than died in every other war that we've ever been in ever.
One of the biggest, the losses for Americans.
Can you imagine the Civil War going on today, like of what we were fighting over, and like in this modern world, like of coverage and media and what? I mean, people in India didn't know what the fuck was going on in America and fighting the a civil war back then, or they didn't give a shit. Like, I mean, and why would they? People in Italy were just eating their pasta and, doing whatever the fuck they were doing. They didn't give a fuck. Like, nobody knew what was going on. I mean, maybe in England they had, some semblance of an idea of like, oh, those dipshits over in America are fighting over whatever the fuck they're fighting over. They didn't know, right? Like, I mean, we don't just know. We are like in real time watching videos of hostages being taken where the terrorists are posting they've been posting on people's social media. They've been taking their phones and recording them on their own phones and then going to their social media accounts and posting on their own social media accounts their own videos that the terrorists took of them being abducted and shit. I mean, my lord.
You're talking about publications.
Right. I mean, it's just so easy to spread that. All right, we like I think we gotta put a pin on this one just because I think we could keep going on this topic for
But it all boils down to the shad.
It goes back to instinctual. We'll do anything to protect our family, our friends. I mean, we'll do anything, and we don't even know that we're doing it. We just do it.
So back to what I said to everybody before: be who you gotta be. Right. Let you be you. Right? Don't complicate things. Right? If you put your fucking dick in the middle of your flow, right, it's going to stop the flow. Just stay away from the elephant. Let the elephant do its thing, right? I'm saying is let you be you. All this thing that you're trying to do, like all you're doing is you making mystery for yourself, because eventually you're gonna do it anyway. We are an emotional creature. We are the slave of the genes. You cannot tell the genes to not do something. If it wants you to smile, you smile. If it wants you to be sad, you sad.
I mean, we've spent 3+ years doing this together now. Like, 2 years of doing this stuff together. Like that is a lot of training and retraining of our rider to our elephant. And we're saying right now that I don't even know if we did this for another 50 years that we could then, we would basically what we're saying is like we can't stop it.
You cannot change the elephant. You cannot change the elephant. The only thing we're doing right now and today and with company is how do I communicate with the elephant?
Yes.
That's all we're trying to do. We're not going to try to tell the elephant, hey, we're gonna communicate. The only thing you're doing is how do I communicate? That's the only objective we have with clubbing is how do we be in tune and be able to communicate with the elephant so that we know and anticipate what the elephant needs.
Right.
And vice versa. You cannot change the elephant. If you're a beaver, you cannot start to be, hey, I want to be an eagle. If you're a duck, you cannot go to eagle school and expect to be, hey, you know, I'm an eagle now. It doesn't work that way.
Shad can't just hang out in the salt water and go like, oh man, I'm fat and happy. Like, well, let's try it out here. I mean, you know, fuck it. I mean, why don't you try to? Why don't you do that?
Why am I dying for the kid that is not yet to be, right? You think about it.
I'm fat and happy out in the salt water. Like, why not just be fat and happy out here? I mean, that makes a lot more sense to me. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, all right. Fun combo as always for everybody still with us. The question we can leave for you is, in what ways do you sacrifice for the ones you love to give them the best odds at a chance of life?
Well, it's not anything. It's a thing that you're supposed to do.
You have to. Yeah.
The thing that you must do. Right. You cannot run away from it. Like I say, I can simplify so much that it sounds ridiculous. Try to stop breathing. If your genes needs air, you're going to suffer if you stop. Right? It's as simple as I can make it. I mean, yes, I'm really making it really ridiculously absurd in saying that, but I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You got to do it. You can't stop it. So
you can't stop, but you have to
might as well understand it and then go, well, if I got to breathe, then I might as well figure out how to be the best breather. I totally agree with you. All right. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. And we will see you for another exciting episode tomorrow.
Sounds good.